Irina. How are you?
Hi everyone. I'm good. Nice to see all of you.
Yes. Hello to everybody who's watching our live video. Thank you for joining us once again.
So are we today what are we doing actually? it's
We're
already come
going
to it's already come to our chapter 7, right?
Yes.
Chapter 7. Woo, okay.
We've managed.
Wow. And
to
this chapter
be
7,
this
I think
far.
and then I think this chapter 7 is the most interesting, I guess, which is I think most of the visitors or anybody just love to visit the site. Just like to enjoy this kind of a holiday, I think, whenever you have an opportunity.
Oh yes, that's something that's also very interesting because in the Philippines, actually, during the COVID-19 pandemic, our government they conducted a survey, like where the Philippine domestic travelers would like to go or what activities they would like to experience. And guess what? The number one activity they'd like to do, and that is going to the beach.
Yeah, going to the beach.
The water.
Yes. You
So
not
that's
not necessarily go to the beach just for swimming. Sometimes you just like sitting down there. You're also happy about it already, right? Actually, we just came back. Currently we are undergoing the Beaters Community Festival. So I went for my 10 years journey. Quick look on this Malacca. I think one of my favorite, Malacca. So that day I observing the tourists also in Malaysia now. Everybody go to Malacca. I thought they're going to like really walk around, listening to the history and so on. But yet, you know what they choose? Most of the visitors, guess what?
they're doing now. Going to the shipyard.
They were sitting in the boat. They were sitting in the boat, do the boat ride.
Wait, the boat ride, I mean the river ride, or is it in the shore, in the streets already?
The Malacca River ride, for the Malacca River ride, and they go all the way, to the River Mile, have a look, the Straits the Straits of Malacca, have a look it, and then returning back. I was like, wow, it's like, now you see the real trend. You really see the trend. Everybody, it's not only in Philippines. I think everywhere people is like, when you see some of my European friends picture when they share to us, everybody like showing the beach photo. Everybody wants to go to the beach. Okay.
I think one of the major consideration because why that's also happening, because remember when COVID-19 pandemic hit us, it's sometime February to March when everything started, correct? And supposedly those are the months that's the start of our summertime. Like everybody going to the beach, going to enjoying the sea and the sand, and of course the sun. But of course, because of what happened, everybody became indoor bodies. Team bahay.
Yes.
Philippines we call it team bahay. You just stay at home.
But I think with the new normal, and also like we always talk about better normal, not just only new, but the better normal, I feel like, going to the island, to the beach, to the seaside is always wonderful. Why? Because you feel the breeze. Because now you are not encouraged to the confined space, right? You need the natural air. You need the fresh air, the good, great airflow. So I think anything when any site close to the river, to the sea, to the water is always you get the best experience. I think that is one of the reason behind also, now. Except you don't like the sunlight, then just too bad. You don't like the UV, then just too bad. Okay, but you still can protect it from that. Okay,
But
I think
going outside between 6 to 8 a.m. is still okay for most Southeast Asians.
yes. So as in Philippines, I know that in Philippines basically you are formed by islands. Same as like Indonesia, you like have like thousands of islands, right?
Correct. Like growing up, actually, speaking of number of islands, correct? Growing up, I remember memorizing that we have 1,107 islands. And now, in 2019, it's actually it has been updated. Can you guess how many islands now we have in the Philippines?
I always feel, I mean, I always have the information and the impression is, I think you got like 7,000 plus, something
Yes.
like that. Yeah,
And to be
7,000 plus
very
islands. Mm.
correct, to be very specific, in 2019, the official record of the Philippine number of Philippine islands has been updated to 7,641 islands. That's according to the
Oh,
National Habitat and Resource Information Authority of the Philippines. So it's again 7,641 islands.
wow. Okay. So, how your governments or how the Department of Tourism in Philippines that going to promote? You know, you have 7,000 over island. So, are you going to promote all, or are you going to specifically like pick up a few?
Now, as we try to reboot or restart tourism, they're trying to focus on several islands first. Like they already started with Bohol Island, and they are now calling it as Ube.
Hmm. I
Ube
see.
means ultimate Bohol experience. So
Ah.
that's Bohol Island. Specifically for international travelers, you can fly via Panglao International Airport. And now they're also trying to open Boracay, the world famous Boracay Island with the white sands and the white powdery sands. But overall, they're also looking at Palawan.
Hmm.
So these are some key islands that we can offer as part of the tourism bubble experience in Southeast Asia.
I actually have a very strong impression of the Palawan, and this is always among the Southeast Asia in terms of island product. I think Palawan is the one that I wish to visit, but yet I haven't. You know,
Oh, you should definitely.
yeah, the reason because it's been rated as the World Natural Heritage Site also. So that is why I want to have an experience, and I want to see, like, you know, what kind of the values that actually had make it is so outstanding, universal outstanding in the world. Yeah. Okay, so basically to be frank to all of you, you know that Apple now is also a tourist guide, and myself also a tourist guide, right? So when I started as a tourist guide, actually I didn't become a city guide, although my license or my accredited is a city guide. I was actually started as a snorkeling guide. Can you imagine?
Oh,
Yes,
really?
I was started as a snorkeling guide. Yeah, in 1994. I was
But I'm
working in
curious,
the
what,
island. Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm curious, what brought you to that level? I mean, as a snorkeling guide, what inspired you to become a snorkeling guide?
You want to know the truth? You really
Yes.
want to know the truth? It's just because I don't want to share room with the driver. We used to
Uh,
have very bad practices when you do overland tour, and because of the budget, we cannot, we just cannot like have a room by ourselves. So one of the main reason I went to the island and worked in the island, used to be in Langkawi Island. I was working in Pangkor Island, in Redang. I think most of the island, you name it, in Malaysia as a destination, I have visited all and working there before. Okay, so that's the reason. And the interesting part is I'm not a swimmer, and at that time I started, I don't even know snorkeling, but
oh,
I just pick up from there because of the job requirement, because of the job task require me to do so. And while I working, and I start picking up, and then from that onwards, it's like became, I built up the interest, and because of that, I think I stay as an island guide for almost 5 years, actually, almost
good
5 years.
Irina, good that you didn't turn as a mermaid after 5 years of being a snorkeling guide. I'm really, surprised that you started your tourist guide journey as a snorkeling guide or as more into water than the land.
Yeah, that is my major role play. But I also do some city tour. But the snorkeling guiding is more on my major scope for the first about 3 to 4 years. Without that, I couldn't get the job. You get what I mean? And then those days, so I want to share something. It's long, long time that tourists always visitor always like to go to destination of the island or beach or sea area. Okay, and I think without further, I think Apple, you want to share some experience that you
Uh,
have, right? Yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm going to share some of my experiences, but not as a tourist guide, but more of as a traveler. Okay, so
Okay.
this, because of course we're surrounded by water and we have so many life underwater. So this is
Yeah.
one of my favorite experiences. The Butanding interaction in Donsol, Bohol, which is also in Bicol. This video was taken in 2011. Okay, so I was with my friends. They told me that they're visiting Bicol region, so we went to Donsol. It's actually like a self-organized tour, but when we visited the Donsol area, which is famous for the Butanding or the gentle giants, okay, this is whale sharks. So you basically swim with them. This one, we're not allowed to touch them, okay? So this is Eileen and her mom, so they're my good friends. So as you can see, I'm also looking like a butanding in that video. I'm still very healthy and what do you call this? Heavy during those times. So that's my local blog for Bicol region. And now you can see that Irina, right?
Yeah.
Difference. So some of you might react like we were very close with the Butanding. Again, those were the times that I'm not yet fully aware
Mm,
of like a very specific do's and don'ts. But it was very clear for us that we cannot touch
mm,
the and we have to keep like social distancing with them. Just that, okay, if you will see, right? Because we have in one boat, I remember in that for that particular trip for the Butanding interaction, we are six in the boat, six tourists, my friends, their family, and then we have one Butanding interaction officer, the one who would spot. And then that's the moment that they will tell us, okay, jump in the water. Was the Butanding, the gentle giants, as we commonly refer to them, or the whale sharks, they're just, swimming around. So even though we try to keep our distance, there are times as a non swimmer, as somebody who would just snorkel and the gentle giant will suddenly go to your direction, like, oh my God, wait, wait. Actually, those are the times, Irina, that I also get starstruck. Of course, I've met different people, celebrities, and the like, but I've never lost my breath. It was only the time that I saw the Butanding or the gentle giant, the whale shark. Okay, that's the time that I really lost my breath. And then the guide told me, like, "Hey, mom, why did you surface?" Like, I lost my breath. I cannot breathe. Like, because the first thing I really saw was the big mouth, and the mouth can
yeah.
go as wide as 2 meters.
Wow.
Because there are some whale sharks that can go as big as 40 feet.
Yeah.
So it depends on the whale shark that they spotted, and they will just tell you jump in the water, and then you see like oh my. So those are like little things that I really enjoyed. I highly appreciate that experience in Donsol, Sorsogon, because they're practicing responsible ecotourism.
Mm,
They would always have. They also have a partnership with World Wildlife.
mm.
So basically, some of the conservationists or like
Yeah.
the scientists that would study the whale sharks, they also provide like the do's and the don'ts, and then they educated the local fishermen not to fish for the whale shark, but actually turn it into a ecotourism activity. So for me, that's one of the best practice. And for those who might be wondering, Irina, and like for you
Yeah.
who would like to have this kind of encounter in the Philippines, the Butanding interaction or the whale shark interaction season in Dunsol, Sorsogon is usually starting from November and it lasts up to June.
Mm.
Because of course, as we know, whale sharks they like the tropical waters and they eat planktons. Don't worry, they don't eat humans. They will not eat you. They only eat planktons, which is rich in donsol sourcitol.
Okay, unless you turn yourself into the plankton.
Oh, I have to grind my body fats.
Yeah. That's the reason. Okay, that is a very good point. Like when you do your sharing, because I can see obviously Apple, you do some reading or you try to ask some question, and also you find out more information. The right information, the accurate information, and that's how you can enjoy. Your when you do your this experience, even though you are non-swimmer, and maybe this is like your very beginning to expose yourself, under the water. Okay. And that's the reason why I want to highlight this. I think most of the tourists today, when they visit to the destination or to especially the island products or go to the sea and beach, people just don't think so much and they just like, okay, I'm just going there to capture the some beautiful photos, okay? And then I think lately, most of the activities such as like free diving, underwater photographing, and also like modeling, underwater. So I think the underwater activity is getting like hot and hot and hotter. So it has to be, it's become like encouraging. It's a good, like you have many organizations to conduct, and also many agencies to help you, to achieve all these goals, to enjoy the activities. But I think the really lacking of, I personally, I feel like it's like, if you go to some site, the underwater site and all this, but sometimes we don't really know that besides the coral, besides you see turtle and fishes and so on, but your behavior, it will be affected. And ecotourism practice is actually responsible practices. It's not easy to achieve it, really, because if you build like more resorts and all this, I know beautiful, everybody love to have a 4-star resort, 5-star, 6-star, experiment in the seaside, wow, honeymoon, romantic, but actually it's causing a lot of damages also. With the rapid developments, it's causing a lot of damages. So I just want to give you one example. I always like to blame my mom. I'm a bad daughter, right? Because when I heard my mom say those days in Malaysia, in the east coast side, because our east side is actually South China Sea. So we used to have the leatherback turtle. So when we talk about leatherback turtle, it's a big giant leatherback turtle. They can grow like more than the human size, 2 feet, 3 feet, up to 5, 6 feet. There is a possible. So minimum, we're talking about like average is about 2 feet. They can grow to 2 feet. So yeah, and my mom was like sharing me her romantic, sentimental moment with my dad. In the 1960s, they go to the East Coast in Peninsula of Malaysia, like Terengganu or some state of Pahang. So along the coastal line, they do barbecue. They enjoy fire camp. And at night, waiting for the big giant leatherback turtle, to crawl into the seaside, to the beach and lay eggs. Yes. And what they've done is like, well, of course, the way that she described, sorry, we don't have photo in those days. It's not like they will capture the photo for you. Or maybe they have the photo, I don't know where is it already. Then she was like, oh, actually we take photo with the turtle, we actually climb up. So actually I realized it's not they're doing in the purpose. It's not they're doing in the purpose. But they're doing it because of nobody tell them that is wrong. Nobody like giving them the right education, the right information, the do's and don'ts. No, 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 no. Okay. So to them, until today, they didn't see it's wrong. Then when I speak to my mom, I say, Mom, because of you, you see, now we see nothing. Because leatherback turtle is one of the endangered species now. Yeah, endangered species. I think they only left about like 30,000. We're talking about the whole world. Maybe 30,000 of the female that nestling. So that's why now turtles, I know it's very cute. Like you have your whale shark, okay, you're very lucky, okay. So over here, the South China Sea, normally we can see it's actually the turtles. So one of my when I did my field trip when I wanted to talk about the conservation, how to have fun and conservation, together. So that's why in our chapter 7, you actually watch the footage, right? So we do a few things together. We teach the non-divers to do the discover scuba, and but we doing in the what are the site we doing? We doing on the actually the man-made site, because that underwater site, it used to be destroyed by the fish bomb, so it's totally gone. Okay.
Illegal
Yeah.
dynamite.
Yeah, so that's how they now they actually replanting back the corals and so on. So I think it's great, like, sometimes you go to do some activity, not necessary only for the scenery, but for the education purpose. So after they learn about discover scuba, and we actually took them to some nice site for snorkeling, because just now I saw your video. Actually, I was quite worried that you actually going to kick it, because a lot of people misunderstood when you are snorkeler. Then they like start giving you fin, but you don't even know how to balancing yourself, and then you start using the fin. Is I know it's quite it's like you don't think the fin will help you to float. The floating part is your life jacket is more important. Okay. Yeah,
Best.
yeah, the life jacket is more important, not the fin actually. So for me, I won't encourage those who are first timer or still not doesn't know how to fin well, wearing the fin to fin, in the natural side, because indirectly we might causing the damage also. Okay, while we are having fun. Yeah, yeah. So that's how I will encourage my tourists or my visitors with me. And the next thing, I also will bring them for like mangrove planting. So I think now most of the country have start realizing. Sometimes they will ask me why we need to plant the mangrove. It's not like why we need to plant the mangrove. It's we must plant the mangrove.
Especially for Southeast Asia or countries like Philippines where we have what they call this vast shoreline, and of
Yeah.
course we're an archipelago.
Yes, correct. And without mangrove forests, okay, if our coastline not well protected by the mangrove forest, I think we human are suffer. Because mangrove have many function, which is fantastic, and it really enhancing on our ecosystem, not only just for the underwater ecosystem. So many fishery ponds all started. The small creatures is all actually nesting from the mangrove swamp area. So we really need the mangrove. So I think I quite like the chapter 7, because when I saw Indonesia, because that was taken in Indonesia, we call it the Stratos Pulau Stratos, means
Right.
like 100 islands. Yeah, 100 islands. So I know that the 100 islands is not something like really going for the scenery. Actually, the water is fantastic, crystal clear. So you can imagine one of those days is actually they are full with the corals, but unfortunately was being destroyed. So I think that is a very good model for us to do some education program, experience program, and have some fun session. So I still remember that my members that we going together is actually our Laotian friend from Laos. Laos doesn't have sea at
Wow.
all. They only have river. So they were like, wow, first time in their life, they really swim in the middle of the sea. And then we give this kind of education experience, making them like, and that was the turtle century. So not only just planting the mangrove, then the whole island, this Pramuka Island is also a turtle century. So means it's like, they have this many species. I mean, they have a species of, we call it these hot bills, the hot bills turtle. Yes.
Turtle.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
hawkbill turtles, they eat seagrass.
Yes, correct, correct. Vegetarian. They are vegetarian. So this, I think that is not about just the fun word, but it's importantly, I think, is also what you call like the education behind, so that we can promote sustainable.
First,
We always talk about tourism for SDGs.
yeah,
Doesn't matter which
for
which
this, that's
topic, okay, which side, which
yeah.
destination we go. We always talk about tourism for SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah.
Good thing that you've mentioned the sustainable development goals, right? And now our main topic is all about life below water, because even
Mm,
though it's life below water, we need to be able to understand that whatever we're doing on land, is
Yes.
something that affects the life below water, right? Like as
Mm-hmm.
simple as getting the sand at the shoreline affects the life below water, or
Yep.
even the way you consume your water on land. If you
Yep.
get the water on land, it goes where? It goes to the sea, to the ocean. So it affects this one.
Yes. So in order for us to appreciate, doesn't matter like out of all the total 17 goals that we always like to mention and highlight, in the different area. I think important is the participation, right?
Oh,
The involvement. Because theory or just like putting up the slogan or giving you the message is not strong enough. I think the strong interpretation it will make you understand is you have to get involved. So
yes.
this is one of the reason why in our ASEAN anything and also in our Southeast Asia heritage experience, we are not keep referring you just about the scenery and also the fun, but fun with purpose, right? Fun
Correct.
with a good purpose.
That
That's why purposeful sensory journey.
correct. Purposeful sensory journey, which basically encourages us, the tourist, or even the tourist guide, to be very particular with what kind of knowledge, what kind of experience you're trying to give to your tourists. Because,
Yes,
for
yes,
example, in my case, I can be happy because I saw the butanding or the whale shark. But imagine if I'm not aware, or I was not told by the tourist guide or by the interaction officer that, hey, do not touch that, maintain 1 meter distance, 3 meter distance. Those are the crucial things that we should be able to know as a tourist. And then,
mm,
of course, earlier you've mentioned, Irina, that we have to take part. And
yes,
taking participation in conservation or preservation, I think, like, as we talk about water, our water
yeah,
activity, I realized that using sunblock is not good.
yes, exactly.
But remember, for Southeast Asian and even for Filipinos, when we go to the beach, we always have like all these chemicals in our body. Then we go to the water, interact with the fish, with the whale shark. Then only to realize that the sunblock that we're using is harmful to the life, to the creatures, like below water. So now that I know, or now that I have an awareness about that, I try to look for organic sunblock, like
Mm.
non-harmful chemicals. But again, it's still a challenge because most of the items that we can easily buy in the market are
It's true, it's true. Okay, I when I share this with you, I also having a strong challenge because especially my mother, she, she was very unhappy that I didn't apply anything and I go to the water. And I used to work as a snorkeling guide, right? Right, I mentioned to you. So I used to be my whole skin tone is so tan until nobody noticed that actually what kind of nationality I am. Serious, I was so tan because I never apply sunblock. Okay, but I agree because come on, you go to the water is how much time? You're not going to stay in the water like 24 hours. When you stay on the land, I mean sorry, today I most of the time on the land, I do use some sunblock, but I try to be as environmental friendly and try to reduce on the chemical usage as much as we could. Okay, but I think we can but when you go to the water, how come on, you're not going to stay there for long. Maximum is 45 minutes. What's the big deal?
or
Why
you
you need to,
what do you call
yeah,
it? Use this like the long sleeves. Like you see, I'm not really something from the water.
yeah, yeah.
The,
It doesn't matter what wardrobe, so long, I mean, so long it's uh now in the market it's all everybody say, it's up to the marketing, but seriously I have no idea whether how true is the truth. Okay, but if you asking me, you should be like just enjoying, you should be enjoying. And then I think really annoying me most is when I go to like some island, I when I see people, everybody is using the plastic, is really really annoying me. Yes, really annoying me. Because one of the biggest challenge now, one of the biggest challenge is now, it's like I always tell them, like, okay, you do the project awareness, which is great, clean the beach and all this, which is great. I mean, it's like, but I don't know, it's going to take how many years. So I think as a frontliner like us, and also as a tour operator, so when we organizing our activity, we at least we have to show our responsibility, not to provide those one-time use. At least we encourage reduce and reuse, not recycle anymore. Recycle, it doesn't help much. Okay. Yeah, recycle, it still need money, a lot of costs involved.
For me, I already added the
Yeah.
refuse because sometimes even as a tourist, you already have your reusable bottles, you have your own like eco-friendly materials, but then the local community will still give you the plastic. So
Yes.
so
Yeah.
there was one time that I visited a nearby island, and then during snacks, I saw that in the water, a glass of water, they or no, it was a juice. Okay, so in the glass they still put a water straw, a
Mm.
plastic straw, and then I told them, who told you to put, like I politely asked, who told you to still use this kind of plastic straw, and then the reason they told me was because it is more classy. Like, no, no,
Ah.
plastic is not classy, but because they saw, like, of course they saw in some setups, food and beverage setups, that there's a straw and this. So I started to educate them that as much as possible, please do not use plastic straw or avoid using that one. Anyway, you already have the glass. No need for such straw. If somebody asks, then that's the only time that you give it to them. But do
Yeah.
not give it out without, somebody asking for it, because it's just adding to the waste. So overall, there are really so many things that we can do in order for us to participate, to
Yeah.
raise awareness, and hopefully we're not just using awareness using social media, but just like what Irina mentioned earlier, go out once it's already okay and take active participation. There
Yeah.
are some areas, again, in Malaysia and overall Southeast Asia, even in the Philippines, we have scheduled mangrove tree planting.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
mangrove planting, it serves as a protection for tsunami, for even it also serves as a breeding ground for
Yeah.
different fishes. And
And
I
also,
the
yes.
oxygen, they produce more oxygen.
And also to prevent the sea water, because as you know that the whole planet, actually about more than 70%, we are covered by the water, especially the sea, right? We are surrounding, if you look at our planet. So mangrove is very important to help us to prevent the sea water drilling into the our clear water, because our clear water is so scarce already, it's getting limited. Yeah. So this is why mangrove is important. But I think also some of the products, which is like, I give you one example, like, some not just only about the ecosystem underwater, like when you go to the island, because sometimes when you go into the island, you also have the life above the land, right? So when you have mangrove forest, you're going to have like monkey, you're going to have like, you're going to see like eagle flying around, you're going to see like some bird species and so on. And in some practices, I think they are quite bad. I know it's fun. I know it's fun. The activity is like, you cannot just go into the water activity, but you can like feeding animals also. So
Oh,
I do not know, like, what do you think on the feeding animals? And then I think some of the experience, they like to feeding fish also. Oh, that's really annoying me, man. I
I
have to.
I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of feeding the fishes. Like, now that you've mentioned, I'm now that you've mentioned that, right? Because I'm not also aware. Like when it was my first time in Yangon. Okay,
Okay.
first time in Yangon, and I went to their seaside, like, or to the riverside. So there's a bunch
Riverside. That one is a riverside. Yes, yes.
to the riverside. And then one of the activity which is very famous in that riverside is feeding the fish. So the locals are selling all these pellets, like, food food for the fish, and they were like,
Yeah.
okay, just the fish and feed them, and then I'll be very happy, like, oh, look at that. And also there was one thing, but the one I experienced in Malaysia, there are koi fish,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they even put the the food of the fish in a bottle, like a milk bottle,
Yeah.
and then you really feed the koi through
Yes.
the bottle. So for me, if I'm not into sustainability, I'm not yet really aware of what's the side effect of this. For me as a tourist, I would say it's fun. But then again, we are now starting to question, is your fun responsible? Is your experience
Yes.
responsible?
Correct. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I'm more aware that, hey, okay, I'm not going to do that, but now we need to let other people understand, especially the vendors, the community who's making it as their livelihood. I think
Yes.
that's where we're
Correct.
having the kind of difficulty and the challenge, because
Yeah.
now what other alternative livelihood we can tell these people who are selling the packets for the fishes, what kind of livelihood they will get if they cannot sell these packs of food for the fish.
Mm. That's a good question also.
I
Yeah.
hope all our viewers, our community in Southeast Asia heritage, in
Yes.
Southeast Asian tourism, can tell us, like, what kind of alternative can we give to these people. Maybe they can now focus on food, food at the seaside. But then again,
Selling
of course,
food for human, not selling food for the animal.
yeah, yeah. So
Or
we
upgrade
just
themselves, or upgrade themselves, or upgrading themselves. That's why I always encourage my boatmen, okay,
mm,
my fishermen. This is along the journey when I work in the island, even until today. Whenever I visit, I see the place is potential. I always tell them, like, it doesn't matter like what school qualification you are. That is not the matter. The matter is your passion, your care. You care for your environment because you need this piece of environment to sustain your livelihood. So you need to upgrade yourself, such as like maybe you can input more knowledge. You have a real hands-on experience that you live there, but you need to input more on hands-on, like how to protect the animals or sharing the right information, or because of you gain the knowledge, because I see a lot of NGO like keep providing like workshop and courses, and sometimes they will go to the site and teaching the local communities and how to make them to sustain the natural side. So it's just that like but the way we approach to the local community is maybe we need to bring down our standard on the languages, the level, and then our way of approach, like we make them understand it's like you are not we are not coming here to like take over from you, but it's just that we want to enhance and we want to encourage you to be professional, so that you can actually build your business. So I remember when we were in Primuka Islands, so they were really full with the plastics. So actually, we at that time we also wanted to talk about like how can we turn all this plastic, because I know that you tell them not to use plastic is quite difficult, because sometimes what they get, the supply is all plastic.
all
You
plastic.
see, the people who supply to the island is all plastic. So we would start thinking about like, oh, can we use this plastic turn into like some games, or turn into some architecture, or turn into some useful things. And I know it takes some time, it takes a lot of efforts, and you need a lot of organization, to come and work around with. But I think as a start is like you need operator and frontliners that willing to conduct the activity. It starts spreading out this strong message, and slowly communicating with the local community. That is, I know the impact will come very slow, but we still need to do. It's not like we just okay. The impact will slow. Maybe it take years, decades to change.
At
Because I
least
just
we're doing
yeah
something, like taking
doing
action.
something. Yes, I just don't want the leatherback turtles is just gone, because we used to be so proud that we have our East Coast beaches in Malaysia, in the Peninsular Malaysia. Is like the only 27, the total 27 sites that the leatherback turtle will landing. Now we got nothing, zero. You see? So if you just imagine like we have this kind of fantastic site and then we do a very great conservation. Now the great conservation is only come from visual, really visual. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Virtual or visual,
everybody,
virtual.
you know,
Okay.
everybody can somehow thank COVID-19 pandemic
Yeah.
because the human activities were limited
Yeah.
for several months, and that limitation in our human activity actually gave a breather for
Yes.
our Mother Earth, for the life below water, to not to be disturbed. So
Yes.
now
Yes.
they
Yes.
have like a rest time, and hopefully they're able to recover, because I again, there's still the challenge for us, and it's our responsibility to be able to raise awareness. What
Yeah.
are the things that we must be able to do to always call out the attention and educate more people
Yeah.
about it. And overall, when you were discussing, Irina, the different stakeholders involved on how to
Mm.
make it work, it boils down to value chain, from the supplier to the consumer to the partners, because even if the community doesn't want it, but then the supplier will just, like, put everything, bam, okay, here's our the supply. Yeah, so it's really a value chain. So at the end of the day, for peace, we partners. You can see there. It's about we, the human, the people, and what we're doing with the planet, and we need to balance it with our profit or prosperity, and hopefully we get the right partnership.
Yes.
Um, Irina, you've mentioned earlier that when we go to a community, when we try to make them understand, it's not just about us telling them what to do, but for them to have that sense of ownership, that
Yes.
we are not the outsiders telling them these are the rules and commandments, but rather the one saying, okay, this is our community. That's why we want it to be sustainable. Okay, so
Yeah.
hopefully, through all these activities and through our campaign to raise awareness and action for sustainable development goals, particularly life below water, more people will understand, more tourists will be able to engage in purposeful sensory journey. Don't
Yeah.
just swim and swim and swim and then put trash in the water or
Or
in the
feed them,
land.
or feed the fish with
Or
the wrong food. Okay.
now I usually decline, or I tell them, sometimes, as a tourist, or even when I became a tourist guide,
Yeah.
now when I'm somehow against the practice, I don't do it, and then the next action that I do is to talk to decision makers, like
Mm.
who owns the business, why they're doing that, because we need to understand them first, and
Mm.
then we try to open their minds, their
Yeah.
hearts. Hopefully they'll be able to have a change in the way they do their business.
Yeah. And I always like, and also we as a frontliner, sometimes when we like bring our tourists going to the destination, so I always like to make joke with them, especially when I go to the island. Like in Malaysia, we have many marine parks, so that is under the conservation side. And surprising me is in our conservation side that almost every operators, they will like take those going to be expired soon, the break, then start distributing. Yes. Then this bread is all full with vitamins, so I always like to joke with my tourists, and then or some visitors I met. I would just say that, well, now maybe you feed them very happily, because I think in not in the very coming near future, most likely is the other way around. The fish probably will be suntan at the beach, and then we will be swimming under the water. you know, because we're eating the fish, right?
Yeah,
And this fish already transformed into, so I don't know, maybe the genetic is already
sure.
different. So we
Actually,
become fish. And
change. Yeah.
I that's why I always have this imagination. Like I love to see like mermaid, Aquaman, this kind of movie. I always believe that one day, human can actually go into the water, and all these underwater creature will come out, and stay in the planet, above land. So it's the other way around.
the other way around. That's the what I call this, like an evolution of the human. But okay, I just like to highlight again because you've mentioned the feeding, right? Feeding the fish. I just remember one location in the Philippines, Oslob, Cebu, which is also famous for whale shark
Yeah.
interaction. But
Mm.
this for me is a case study of how we humans affected the natural lifestyle of the whale shark. Because in Oslo, they feed they feed the whale sharks. Now the orientation, of course, the whale sharks should be swimming like this. Imagine this as the whale shark, and this is the
Yeah.
whale shark, right? So the whale shark should be swimming like this. But now in Oslo, the whale shark, the mouth is always on the surface because
Yeah,
they
because they're so
already
used to
know,
it. Yeah.
yeah, and they no longer leave the area. To think that whale shark are migratory fishes,
Yeah.
they go with the flow of the water, the temperature. So those are the little things that we know. We at first maybe we thought that feeding them one time, two time, three times is not going to affect them, but in
Yeah.
reality, we
It is.
modify their behavior, we modify their lifestyle. So
Correct.
hopefully, we raise more awareness about this kind of practices
So that's
and
why now when
the
I
wildlife.
yeah, that's the reason now I'm also a diver. So now the attract me to go and pay my money for diving is no longer the fun is just to satisfy me anymore. You know. So I'm more looking into like when I go to this dive site, what is the special? Do I learn anything or special creatures or any specific micro or anything that I have to observe or have to see it, or I have to learn something. I think that is the way that I always say that the values. Because I think this whole pandemic periods of time, I know everybody is like really crazy being staying at home. Okay. So everybody is like
Indoor.
whenever whenever I got a chance I want to rush out. Okay. But
We're gonna
at the
go
same
out and
time,
speed.
yeah, but we also learn that when we stay at home, the world is getting better. The planet is actually getting better because we stay at home. But now I feel it's like, oh my God. So is we going to opening up, or back to the normal? But I don't think we will come back to the normal. Let's say we are in new normal to the better normal, right? I hope this kind of a mindset shouldn't repeat again. So I hope the responsible mindset should keep coming, remind ourselves like we still able to breathe, and then today the planet, we still can live in the planet. How fortunate, how grateful we are. Okay. So it's not only for the life below water and the life above land. Please think for our younger generation. I think this month is actually a very nice because it's a World Animal Day. It's a
Oh,
World Animal Day. Yeah, 4th of October was a World Animal Day. So like my mom's story again. I always envy my mom. Wow, she see the real leatherback turtle. Okay. And I just do not wish, when come to my generation, because especially when I was in Flores, I went to Komodo. I went to Komodo and I'm not only watch Komodo, but I go to underwater. When I was first diving under the water, my heart was so touched. And actually, because I'm under the water, I can't express myself. But I was so touched on that. I was like, wow, this was like actually 20 years ago, how Redang Island looks like. But
mm.
today, if I want to tell my fellow Malaysian friend how Redang Islands, how fantastic it is, I say, please follow me to Forest Island again. I have to fly to Indonesia, on the east part of the Indonesia, and then let's do the diving. Then you will understood what am I referring. I it's like then it gave me kind of like a hope. It gave me kind of like a strong message that I shouldn't give up, because in one time I almost give up. For me, diving underwater or doing some water activity is like it's to me it's like I have become numbness. because when you involve for the long time or period, so sometimes you become just numb yourself, you just don't feel like, you want to like keep continue doing or as your career. And then
Yeah.
because of that underwater, that diving trip, it sparked my fire back again.
Nice.
so so this year during the pandemic time, if you asking me, like besides staying at home, preparing our contents, what else I do, I actually go for my uh diving instructor course.
You're leveling up. Maybe after the pandemic, you're a full blown diver. So what will happen is people will not look you. I will not look for you on land. They'll start looking for you on water, like Irina. And then most of your friends will be whale sharks. What else? Snow, Dory.
Yeah, because I feel like it's like
Low water.
if my message is too slow, so that's why now I go into this whole week. Actually, what am I busy with also? I started to learn like editing, go into the digital. So because I feel like if I want the message to be stronger and stronger and really reach out and create the impactful, and I feel like I'm fighting with time now to capture all the moments that what
Mm.
we could. Seriously. But this idea is not to make sure you just enjoy on the virtual, okay? Is I just wish that we couldn't protect all, but at least something left behind one day.
And they're also creating a teaser for what people can experience in Southeast Asia Heritage after the pandemic. So now
Yeah.
we're creating all this, or we're documenting all these stories, sharing what we've experienced before
Yes.
and what our hopes for in the future, so that when we are able to travel,
Mm.
people can now also venture in their own purposeful sensory journey in South
Journey.
Asia.
Yeah.
Be it
Yes.
with dive underwater, be it with diving with your new master in diving, Irina, or with the other topics that we've discussed.
Yeah.
It's really for me. Let's just consider 2020 as a year of transformation, not only as
Yes.
a year of
Definitely.
pandemic and recession, but really a year of transformation. And again, this is to remind everybody who's joining us in this live video. Actually, 2020 is the start of the decade of action. We have the Sustainable Development Goals 2030,
Yeah.
and we're just 10 years from that 2030. So
Correct.
2020 your decade of action. So please start doing something for sustainable development goals. Start
Yes.
supporting hashtag tourism for SDGs. And just like what we are showing to you right now, we keep discussing about this because even though we're home, we cannot travel at the moment, but we always have our heart focused on what we can do for tourism. And if before pandemic, one of our major concern is over tourism, now Irina, I think you can also relate that it's nice that we are undergoing through under tourism. So now we can limit, right? Because you've already mentioned now that we can limit the number of people, and by
Yes.
limiting the number of people, we are now focusing on quality tourism.
Correct.
So it's more
Quality.
like a
Yes.
byproduct of the things that we're experiencing or the challenges that's brought by COVID-19 pandemic. But overall, let's focus on tourism for SDGs. Let's be mindful of our sustainability practice. And it starts with us. It
Yes.
starts with us as a
Have to
tourist,
start.
a traveler. Irina now is, what do you call this? Transforming his role as a tourist guide, as a tour operator, and now becoming a master diver and also an editor,
Interpreter. Also
yeah,
an
interpreter,
interpreter. Yes, interpreter.
digital storyteller, vlogger. So there's
Editors. Oh my god. And then now I have to learn about like the videographing, and hopefully when I was in the underwater I can capture, and most what do you call the quality contents. Wow.
And in my case, I'm personally looking forward to that kind of content from you, Irina, because not everybody can go below water. I can only do snorkeling, you can do diving. So please showcase to us what we can see below water. What are the creatures that is affected? What are the beautiful corals that if we don't take good care of it, we won't
Yes.
be able to see it.
And then don't miss the session this October. Just check it out, from our official website, our YouTube, our MBS channel. I also have a great session, a special edition with Mr. Douglas Dillon. He is also a very experienced diver, not just only for leisure diver, even commercial, and he is a rescuer. So you can heard some of like his favorite creatures underwater. you know because now I think after today's session, everybody should think about, okay, everybody should think about. So look at the YouTube channel, MBS channel, Learn Live Hope. Don't forget to subscribe also, so you can find many contents in there, including our Ask Sia Anything. Yeah, so I think after today, even like every time, always do not just listening, but listening actively. So I think today you can start like ask yourself, if you want to go to the sea or go to the beach, or any topic that we discuss, always ask yourself, what is your purpose? Why are you going there? Okay. And number two, if you have a life for you, whether it's flora or fauna, to be protected, and what you wish that flora or the fauna of the species is not go into extinct. Okay. So I think you start with this kind of mindset preparation, and that is where you start searching for the word value. Because I keep asking around now why we travel, why we go out from the house. Is it like for what purpose? Is it just for relaxing? Okay, that is good purpose. That is one value. But besides of that, how can be kind to this planet? How can be kind to the human? So I think this is also the next one we have to keep asking ourselves. Because I think these few weeks, me and Apple, we were struggling, right? Actually, we were quite struggling on the word value.
Because it might have different meaning for different people. They might
Yes,
value, like for example, if you're visiting a beach, a white beach for that matter, or a pink sand, you saw a pink sand. Your value might be like, oh, I want to have this kind of souvenir, so that's why I'm going to scoop the sand or the white sand and bring it back with me. But maybe the real value of that is it's just there. Your memory should be the one that you're really taking. Your memory should be more valuable than the actual sand that you got.
yes. So that is also another. I think for life below water and life above land, I think the strongest challenge is people keep thinking the word souvenir. you know, the
Yeah,
word
correct.
souvenir. Yes. A lot of animals go into like extinct is also because of pollution, and another is I think the souvenir. I
Yeah,
used to be the bad. I used to be the bad tourist also. Seriously, I love shell. I collect all kinds of seashell. Okay. Then suddenly one day I realized, in the end, I still turn them into a rubbish. So what's the point? What's the point you collecting them and you turn them into the rubbish? So it's better you leave them alone. Leave them in your original site. Don't touch, okay? And let everybody have a chance to admire. So that is a good karma. We're going to go into spiritual.
and then overall, our new mantra now, our new mantra as a tourist should be like leave nothing but footprints. Like,
Yes. Okay, you can take photo, no problem. You can take
yeah,
photo.
take,
Photo is
take
your souvenir.
correct. Take your memories with you. But by doing so, hopefully, our travelers, our tourists are also not going beyond the border of
Yes.
what's good. Because some people, in order to take the best photo, the best selfie, they already saw that feet off the grass, or do not cross this line, but they're still crossing it. So again, be responsible in the way that you experience a destination, in the way that you involve yourself in a community. And
Yep.
as a tourist, as a traveler, it's all about enjoying and also learning how to respect.
The best education is always travel, because we not only just have the hands-on experience, but we also learn how to be well behaved as a well-being person. Yeah.
Get to know more about ourselves. So I think that has been a very meaningful discussion for this session. Again, please do follow hashtag Purposeful Sensory Journey. And this is the month of October, so we're celebrating the Bee Tourist community. So in
BT Festival, yes.
Bee Tourist
BTCF 2020. Yeah, BTCF 2020. So just if you miss the date, it's okay. You can always look back into our YouTube channel. Yeah, and in our YouTube channel, we'll keep publishing it. Yes, yes. Okay.
different
So thank
videos.
you, Apple, for your day. So I
Yes,
hope you I hope you join me diving one day. Yeah, must. It's a must. Okay. Let's
you go below, then I'll just start.
No, I'm gonna turn you to be a diver, okay?
Okay, looking forward for that so that
I
we
want
can
you to be I want you to be the best model of the snorkeling guy. Yeah.
we go diving in the Philippines, snorkeling in the Philippines. You visit the Mantra Bowl in Bicol region, the Sardines Run in Cebu, and of course the whale shark or the butanding interaction in Donsol, Sorsogon. So
Yep.
thank you. We're looking forward for this kind of activities. Again, please do visit if you're looking forward for this kind of
Yep.
experiences. Please visit SoutheastAsiaHeritage.com and follow our hashtag Purposeful Sensory Journey. This has been a very fruitful and meaningful discussion. Please continue making a difference one trip at a time and travel, enjoy, respect, share, become a responsible traveler. Mabuhay and maraming salamat. Terima kasih.
Selamat jalan. Bye.